Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own struggles, having borderline personality disorder. I talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, which I also have, anxiety disorder, panic attacks, depression, narcissism, bipolar, schizophrenia. I talk about all the different types of therapies out there, CBT, diabotical therapy, psychoanalytical, psychodynamic, IFS. I talk about my personal experiences having sex with my psychologist for 2 years, the unethical abuse and treatment that I got in therapy, and a plethora of other mental health related topics. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I can't, diagnose you or give you a professional opinion. All I ask of you in return is your kindness and respect in the comments. Please be kind to me. Be kind to other people who comment. We don't need to agree on everything, but we do need to agree on kindness and respect for one another. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hit that subscribe button over there on the right, so that way you will be notified when I put out a new video. You won't miss it. You'll get that notification right away. If you like what you see, hit that thumbs up button there on the left. That way there, I'll know what videos are popular with people and what videos aren't. I always welcome comments. I will answer your comments back. I appreciate anyone who feels comfortable to share their own personal struggles with me. If you have any questions or you want me to cover something, you can put that down in the comments too. All right, today's video is how do you handle anger? Now, anger is one of those emotions that everybody has, okay? Everybody at one point, several points, sometimes some people have a big chip on their shoulders and they walk around with a big chip, has anger. There isn't any person on this earth who has not experienced anger. Now, I have borderline personality disorder, so my emotions are much, much more intense. So my anger isn't just your everyday anger. It turns into like a rage, like an inferno. Think about other people's anger as like, a controlled fire, like in a fireplace or a fire pit. My borderline personality anger is such a rage. Have you ever seen that movie, the Tower, the Inferno, or the Towering Inferno? I forget what the name of the movie is. Where it's a high-rise building and the whole thing is like goes up in flames. Think about the Twin Towers, 911, when the planes went in. That's my kind of anger. It isn't your everyday average contained anger like a fire in the fireplace or a fire pit. This is the difference between, having a personality disorder, rage, compared to, your average everyday anger. Now, really, let's define what is anger. Anger, deep down underneath, like inside all that rage, is there to protect our hurt feelings. There's often, a history of trauma with people who have a lot of anger in them, of unmet needs in their childhood. So what happens is they get triggered in the present day moments, and it usually has nothing to do with what is going on right at that time. For instance, I'll give you an example. One time I read years and years ago that a man killed his wife because she didn't cook the pasta right. You know how spouses or lovers can blow up at each other and then like walk out the door and end the relationship, and it can be over something really trivial. Well, it isn't that one thing at the time, okay? It's all the things underneath it, like an iceberg. Okay, when you, like the Titanic, when you see just the tip of the iceberg, right? That's a little point. Underneath is a massive, right, humongous mountain, a mountain, like the Mount Everest iceberg, a mountain of ice that you don't see. So when someone gets angry at you and goes off, it might end the relationship, or might, do physical harm, punch you in the face, or whatever. That guy killed his wife because she didn't cook the pasta right. That was just the tip that you were seeing. You weren't seeing the mountain of ice underneath that. And that's what the root of it is, okay? The root of all of our anger. It's not that one little thing, that little tip of the iceberg. It's that mountain of ice that's underneath, okay? An accumulation of all your unmet needs, of all your traumas from childhood, the neglect, the physical abuse, the sexual abuse, the emotional abuse, the verbal abuse. All these things that happen to you, okay, are underneath the surface. And you only see like the tip of it. Now, there's many ways that people handle anger. There are healthy ways to handle anger, and there are unhealthy ways to handle anger. And let's talk about both ways, okay? Now, of course, an unhealthy way to handle anger is, you made me angry and I just swipe you. I punch you in the face. Of course, I can go to jail. Or I had a friend who vandalized someone's car because they were angry at that person. So they vandalized their car. Unhealthy way. Borderlines often have unhealthy ways of handling anger because I can't control my emotions. It's like a broken thermostat. I'm either boiling hot or freezing cold. It's either 100 degrees or 0 degrees. So, I might do things to harm myself when I'm angry because I can't handle it, or I might do things to harm other people. And those things that, are harmful to yourself or other people are unhealthy ways of expressing anger. And it doesn't always have to be physical either, like vandalizing someone's car or punching someone in the face, or, worse things, killing your wife over the spaghetti. It can be like saying something really hurtful. Okay, words are weapons, I don't believe the saying, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. I don't believe it. Most of the cliches, about like 98% of them, are hogwash. I don't believe in them because words can really hurt. Really, really hurt. Words stay with me forever. Well, maybe because I'm a borderline. I remember harmful things that people have said, hurtful things that people have said to me like 40 years ago. 45 years ago. I mean, from my childhood, it has stayed with me. So those words, if you had like thrown a rock at me and bruised my arm, that would have went away in a week. But these words stayed with me for decades, like all my life. So that's how harmful words are. So my advice to you is always think before you say something to someone. Is this going to hurt the person? And if you say yes, the person could get offended by what I say, don't say it. Don't say it, okay? Think about it. Would I want someone to say this to me? Is this going to be hurtful? Think before you speak, because it can do irreparable damage. Irreparable damage. The word's irreparable. All right. Anyway, so doing those things, saying hurtful things, even though you're not physically hurting someone, is really unhealthy ways of handling. Now, what's a healthy way of handling anger? Well, writing in your diary about how you feel. Well, I don't have a diary, you could say. Well, talking to a friend, talking to your therapist, talking to your partner, someone you trust about your feelings. If you don't feel like doing that, you could, like, physically, you really feel physical, you could punch a pillow. You've heard of that? Like, get all your aggression out punching a pillow. Or there's a dartboard here, downstairs in my basement. You could whip darts at the dartboard. Put a picture of the person that has got you really upset. Put it there, and then throw darts at it. There's lots of things that you can do that are healthy outlets. Jog, take a walk in nature. Get away, get out and get away from the situation, the person that's upsetting you. Get away, go out in nature, go out in the woods, take a walk around the reservoir, around the lake, around the pond, Nature always helps me. It soothes me. It calms me down. These are some good, solid, healthy outlets for your anger. Write an email, but don't send it. Say what you want. Write something like all the things, the rotten, nasty things you want to say, but don't send it, okay? Just write it to release, because writing is, it really helps release as a healthy way to release your pent-up feelings, your anger. Those are just a few examples of healthy ways. And it's much better to do the healthy ways than get yourself in trouble, or hurt someone that you can never, you can never take words back. Remember that. You can say you're sorry, okay, but you can never take what you said back. It'll always be stuck, at least with me, because I have borderline personality disorder. Maybe you feel different. I don't know if you experience it different, but it will always be stuck up here, and the apology, that's not going to change that, see? So, yeah, it's better to do those kind of things, exercise, write it down, but don't send it, go for a walk in nature, talk to a trusted friend or a partner or your therapist if you have one. Those are healthy ways to, vent out your anger. Anger is just a way, to protect us. Sometimes it's good to be angry because it helps protect us. A lot of people, I don't think it's healthy. Here's another unhealthy way to handle anger. Suppress it inside. That's very unhealthy. That's at the other extreme from someone beating someone up or vandalizing their car, right? Or like, saying something that they know is going to hurt someone. Another unhealthy way to handle anger is by suppressing anger, keeping it buried inside, okay? These are the people that are going to get ulcers, right? That's the number one cause of ulcers, right? You keep all that anger suppressed, you don't say anything, you don't do anything, you act like everything's fine, but you're enraged. You have an inferno inside your gut, and sooner or later, it's going to burn a hole in you, and that's what, is going to happen. You're going to end up getting bleeding ulcers, You're going to have to, it's going to affect you physically. It can end up giving you headaches, migraines. It can end up giving you stomach aches, digestive problems like diarrhea. You can end up getting cancer if you keep repressing. It's not healthy. That's extremely unhealthy, just as it is vandalizing someone's house or car or beating someone up. Those are both extremes, opposite extremes, right? One is suppressing and doing nothing, and the other person is, doing things that are destructive and hurtful and damaging. So those are both unhealthy ways. You need to really vent, you need to get that out. You need release, you need to be able to talk to someone about it. Write it down. do a video about it. That's what's good about having all these YouTube channels, is that you can come on and voice, how you feel. Any kind of outlet like that is going to be healthy, all right? Because suppressing, keeping it down deep inside of you is only going to hurt you physically and mentally. It's going to give you ulcers and all sorts of physical ailments, right? Remember, the body mind is connected. I strongly believe that. So if you're fuming, your body is going to react to that if you try to, hold all that inside and hold that back. So that's not a healthy way to deal with it. And we all know some people who have that big chip on their shoulder, waiting, like, daring you to go and knock it off. These people have, like I said, a lot of trauma history, tons, mounds and mounds of it, under the surface. And that's what they're carrying. They're carrying all that on their shoulder, so that's what that is, that chip on their shoulder. From my childhood, that's why I have borderline personality disorder. I was, severely beaten by my mother, abandoned by my father, leaving the house, being in mental institutes because he was schizophrenic. My mother tortured me. She physically taunted me. So that's going to, a little child, is going to grow. That's all going to build and build and build and build, So that's why I have borderline personality disorder. I don't always handle my rages very well. But I try to. Now I try to vent to my husband when I'm upset. I write books. I write poetry about my hurt feelings and put a poem out. Get a poem published about my trauma. I do YouTube videos on mental health, which helps me release. Even though I don't have any friends. Another thing you can do if someone is really upsetting you and, making you angry, you can block them. You don't have to have any, or, don't be friends with them. Don't talk to them, You have to look out for your own mental health. If someone is upsetting you, all right, you don't have to be friends with them. If there's someone on the social medias, you can block them. If there's someone in your life, you can, you have to look out for number one, right? If someone is upsetting you and hurting you, you don't have to be with them, okay? You don't have to continue the relationship. You can terminate the relationship. It doesn't matter if they're your parent, your spouse, your lover, your bestie, your best friend. If someone is causing you problems and upsetting you, and you walk away depleted or enraged every time you're with them, then get rid of them. That's what I do too. I no longer hold on to anyone who hurts me. This is a lesson I learned in my late 50s, okay? If you hurt me, bye. You're gone. Because I got to look out for my own mental health, okay? Why do I want to stay with someone who's going to continually hurt me, criticize me, put me down, make me angry, make me upset? It doesn't make any sense at my age. Life is too short. And when you get to 60 years old, you don't have much time. When 70-something is is the limit for most people. My parents both died in the early 70s. So a lot of, you don't know how much time you have. So you don't want to waste it with the wrong people who are only going to upset you. So these are just a few things about anger, about healthy ways to deal with it, unhealthy ways, and what you can do. And you can write in the comments and tell me how you handle your anger. If you find, good outlets other than what I mentioned, or you can even tell me what works for you, and what doesn't. But always think, before you act or before you talk or before you say something to someone. I'm very I'm very cautious of what I say, because I know from my past experiences that what people have said have hurt me so much. I don't want to hurt someone else, you know. Just think about what you say, and I hope you find peaceful ways and healthy outlets to handle your anger, because we all have anger. We just need to have healthier ways of expressing it without causing hurt or destruction to anyone or anything. Okay, till next